Welcome back to Almost a True Crime Podcast, a product of Bitch Pack Media. We are your hosts, Taryn and Madison. Listener discretion is advised due to the mature content and the amount of cuss words we say. You've been warned.
Hey guys, what's up?
We're not doing that.
Sorry.
When you whisper, you always stare off into the distance and not at...
Hey guys, what's up? I can't look at you when I'm doing that. Be weird.
Maybe that is a clue that you shouldn't be doing it at all.
Probably. Oh, my voice is like...
Sexy?
No, I keep thinking like it's coming back to normal, and I'm like, wait, no, this isn't what I sounded like.
I know. I think the same. I'm like, you still sound sick.
I know. I think this is just it for me. Like, I don't think it's getting anywhere besides this.
I can't remember the last thing we've done here.
Menendez brothers?
That's correct, but we put out a Patreon between those because I was like, there's no way I did back to back. Dorothy Stratton, that's what we put out. That was a good one, first of all.
I like that one.
So do I.
I love Playboy, so.
We did get a comment on the Menendez brothers one on YouTube with some stuff that I had missed, but like, in my defense, I read this stuff nowhere. And the person was like, it says something like you should have watched the trial, or you can tell you didn't watch the trial. I am not watching 8 uninterrupted hours to get out tiny key points. So this was nowhere that I read it. I mean, not an excuse, but like, if I don't know it exists, I don't know what to dig for it. Right. So like when he told me what I missed,
you don't know what you don't know. I
started looking it up, and I still had to sort of dig for this stuff. So that's not my fault. But I guess during the trial, there was a photograph of Lyle and Eric that was uncovered of them nude at the ages of 4 and 6 with their heads not in it. So, like, just, like, their naked bodies.
Oh, my God.
Which, hard to say if it was perverted or not. I'm knowing what we know about Jose, I lean towards that was for perverted reasons. But people have several naked pictures of their kids.
Especially back in the day.
Yeah.
That was a thing.
Yeah.
People still do that shit where they post pictures of their kids in the bathtub and they're fully nude.
Like, you can't do that.
You cannot do that.
Those pictures are immediately scooped up and put somewhere.
Yes.
Absolutely disgusting.
Yep. It blows my mind.
They also said that a neighbor came out and said that Jose would show porn to Lyle and Eric and the neighbor kid when they came over. Like, he would show them all porn.
Oh.
I made the very risky choice to Google Jose Menendez porn. Because, like, I didn't know what.
What popped up there?
I was so scared. Actually, not a whole lot. The only thing that popped up is an article from Menendez Brothers fandom. And it said that Jose would put on porn during dinner to make people uncomfortable. Don't know if that's true or not.
Sounds like something I would do.
Apparently.
Like, just to see how everyone reacts.
Liven things up. So apparently, I don't know if that's from the trial, because again, I did not watch the whole trial. But he made it seem like that was said on the trial, and then I found it on this one.
Yeah, if they're like children, that's pervy.
Illegal, probably.
Yeah.
So I did miss that stuff. We take constructive criticism, people. We do.
Yeah, if it's constructive, we absolutely will take it.
And he even said something like, I can tell you only read this book. And I was like, I'll do you one better. I didn't read any books. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. Just immediately cool with it. It's like, actually, I didn't.
Well,
I'll do you one worse. I'll make you even more mad. Who cares? Articles are the same shit. People get all their article information from books.
Yeah. We also got called plagiarists again, guys.
Again. Which, whatever. I understand what he's saying. That we say things verbatim sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. Sometimes I'm fully reading from an article. I can't paraphrase everything.
He's saying, or that person, I'm assuming it's a man, because that seems like something a man would do, or a full-blown woman hater.
Yes.
So I'm assuming it is he's saying, like, for everything you say word for word, you need to say, according to times.com.
Yeah.
Which, whatever. I did it for the one shot that we're going to put out next week, or this week. I don't know when this is coming out. And it's easy when you're pulling from one source.
Yeah.
Because when I'm saying something word for word, I can be like, oh, I read this.
I got all this from blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
So in the case that I'm about to read you, that I did a long time ago, that I pulled from a ton of different places, it gets a little tricky because I'm also not doing it at the same time in an order. So I'm forgetting where certain things are coming from.
And if you want to know where they come from,
scroll on down.
Yeah.
We'll tell you right where it comes from. So if something sounds word for word, it probably is. If I do not do a verbal parenthetical reference, I'm sorry. This is something I do for free, for fun. So I'm certainly not going to do that.
Yeah. So
once people start paying us and the people who pay us the money say you need to do this, I'll be like, okay.
We'll do whatever you want.
But until then. And also I automatically respect your criticism less if you put no name. If you just jamble a bunch of letters on the keyboard and that's your name, I'm like, okay. I know you, or you're embarrassed that you're saying this.
You came here just to be a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's that.
That's that. Let's fucking get into it.
So a lot of this comes from an article called Sex, Lies, and Murder by Jan Bouchard Kerr, which pulls from the book Teach Me to Kill, which I could not find in the state of Ohio. No libraries own this book.
What?
So trust me. I won't be doing any verbal parenthetical references.
If that's what you were here for, you're not getting it.
One, I'm not pretending I made this shit up. All of this 100% comes from the sources that I have put down at the bottom. But I could not find this book anywhere. But the article that I read, I think, is like basically the book.
First sip of beer, and I'm like...
You haven't had a beer in a while.
I know.
I almost got some of those pear ones the other day. I'll get those for next time.
Like, damn, I could get carried away with this today. I could get slutty on some beer.
I'm a slut for a Michelob Ultra.
I'm a slut for a Mick Ultra. For a 95 cal Superior Light beer. Okay, take it away.
Okay, so most of this comes from that. Whatever. I'm doing the Pamela Smart case today. The murder of Greggory Smart. I don't know. Are you familiar with this one
at all? It sounds familiar.
I bet you are. It's an interesting one. So this is also going to be 2 parts, but nothing like the Menendez brothers, I swear.
One part at 56 minutes, the second at an hour and 48, or something ridiculous.
I'm almost positive these are going to be exactly the same length and a very reasonable 40 to 50 minutes.
Okay, we'll see. Start the clock.
Okay. Pamela Smart was born Pamela Ann Wojcik on August 16th, 1967. She grew up in Miami, Florida, before her family moved to Canobie Lake, New Hampshire. When she was in 8th grade, they moved there. She was very popular at school. She was, tiny, a cheerleader. She loved to be the center of attention. She was that bitch, that girl.
Like me.
Exactly. And she continued to be the center of attention when she attended Florida State University to study communications. Also, I don't actually think we've recorded since I got Invisalign. So I'm just going to address that for the group. If I sound weird, that's exactly why. I'm only a week and a half in, and I cannot get used to it. And I don't think you do get used to it. Like, I think this is what I'm going to sound like for a little bit.
Oh, well.
And it doesn't sound that different. I did edit, and I'm like, this isn't that
It's not that
different.
My voice was really stealing the show.
It was. Okay, so Paula, I don't know. There's nothing even remotely close to that where I'm reading. Pamela readily admits her egocentricity. She said, I'm definitely the typical Leo. Walk in, have to be the center of everything everywhere I go. I'm always attracting attention for some reason or another. I'm loud, very outgoing and stuff. So she knows what she's about.
It's so funny because when I hear that, I'm like, oh my God, she sounds like a nightmare. But like, how would you describe me?
Exactly. You walk into the karaoke bar. You demand the attention.
Yes.
You're loud, outgoing. You attract attention.
I demand it. Mm-hmm. People don't want to pay attention to me, but I force it.
They will be.
They have no choice. I will be causing a scene.
She was the second of 3 children with a sister 6 years older and a brother 3 years younger. So
child.
Right in the fucking middle, which explains a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Pam was close to her mother. She had a strained relationship with her father. Her father worked as a commercial airline pilot, and her mother was a stenographer, which are like 2 very respectable careers.
Stenographer, aren't they? Maps? They make maps? What's a stenographer?
Okay, a stenographer cannot be a map maker. That's just not.
What'd you think it was?
I don't know. I picture like a. Is it fucking maps?
Oh my God, dude. Is it?
No, a person whose job is to transcribe speech in shorthand. Oh. Like a court
What
typer
is a
thing.
map maker called?
I feel like I know this. I'm gonna be so mad when you say it.
Oh, a cartographer.
Oh yeah.
Whatever, close enough.
I had
I was
no
almost
idea.
there.
I thought it was like a.
So close.
At least we're looking it up now. The ornithology was a
Birds.
disaster.
And I'll never fucking forget
Watching that play out.
Also, speaking of birds,
What?
there was a cardinal on my fence the other day.
What?
And then on my garage, there was a blue jay.
What the
within
fuck?
20 minutes of each other. And I'm like,
I feel like you have good energies at your house then.
you think?
Those are like good birds, I think.
Cardinals are supposed to be like someone that died.
Yeah.
So I looked at Phil, I said, do you think it's the queen?
Probably. She said, hey, I heard the type of shit you've been talking.
Yeah. She was there.
She flew
And then
transatlantic.
he told Brody that they're both endangered. And I said, I don't think they're endangered. He said, hang on, let me ask him. And then he yelled at the door, are you in danger? And that was
Never a dull moment at your house.
that. So birds, that just made me think of that.
That's funny. Okay, so while home in New Hampshire for Christmas break in 1986, Pam met the long-haired, good-looking metalhead Greggory Smart at a New Year's Eve party.
Ooh.
New Year's Eve was my favorite holiday. Full of
But
magic.
we never do anything on New Year's Eve.
Never.
Except the one year I had a party at my house, and that was so much fun.
That was so much fun.
Should I have a party?
I wonder if I can get you a ticket to the party we're going to.
You're going to a party.
Yeah. Remember, in case you guys are new here, I'm 30 years old. I live with my parents, so I'm automatically included in like whatever they get invited to.
It's like my sister with us.
Exactly. So they came home with tickets to a New Year's Eve party addressed to them and a guest. And like, we know these people.
That is so funny.
And like, are they just trying to like be polite, or like, do they not know my name? Like, are
they
they
have that one adult daughter that lives there? That's so funny. Anyways.
Whatever. Where were we? Oh yeah, she meets Greg at a New Year's Eve party. The two quickly became an item, and he moved down to Florida to live with her during her senior year of college.
Yeah.
They both shared a passion for heavy metal music. Like, this is a large part of her personality.
Heavy metal?
Yeah. She's
What's
down.
like considered heavy metal?
I don't know anymore. I think heavy metal is like she loved Van Halen. So I think old bands like that. Like a step up from like hair bands.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense.
Greg played guitar, so that was part of what drew Pam to Greg. His 5'10", 170-pound frame, toned from hiking, skiing, and fishing with his baby face, was very appealing to her. And honestly, that does sound kind of nice.
It does sound hot, actually.
In contrast, Pam's petite frame, China doll face, and vivacious personality attracted Greg. So
they were a hot-ass couple.
So basically, they're like, you're hot. You're hot. We should get together because we both like heavy metal music and we're both hot. She was known as the Maiden of Metal and had her very own college radio show, Metal Madness.
Oh my God.
Yeah. She was also
cool.
She was fucking cool. She was also the station's promotions director. She says a gig that meant she handed out backstage passes for acts such as the Scorpions and Whitesnake. She said, I went backstage with everybody. I was a woman with all the goods.
I bet. She was hot shit.
She was hot shit. Damn. She was that bitch.
There's going to be a turn here where I'm going to regret complimenting her so much, huh? Always is.
Probably.
As soon as I like them, they turn out to be a psycho.
Her license plate read Halen, a tribute to her favorite band, Van Halen. But what Pam really wanted was to be on TV. Like, she wanted to be a news anchor person or like a reporter. That's where she wanted to be. After graduation, they bought a condo near Greg's family in the town of Derry, New Hampshire, and were married in 1989, which I think that is like what it is based off of. Like, I think that's the same Derry. The movie with the clown.
What? It. Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm like, it what is? Gotcha. This is like reminding me of like something else. There's another case you've done where you're describing her, and I'm like, oh yeah. I can't think of what it was. I don't know. Wow, your t-shirt is in such better shape than mine.
It really is. Are you thinking of Betty Broderick?
Oh, that would make a lot of sense. Maybe.
My fucking headphone is all tangled up. Oh. Okay.
It was just behind you.
Yeah, it wasn't as dire of a situation as I had led myself to believe. Okay, so after they get married, they moved into an upscale residential area, a ring of 2-story condos on Misty Morning Drive. So, like, fancy condos, I think.
Yeah, sounds like it.
They rented a brand new condo, complete with contemporary furniture, including a white leather couch. Very 80s. White leather couch. They had 2 cars and a small dog, Halen, named after, again, her favorite band. This is her one thing.
Did she like me and Haley?
I don't know. I have to double check my sources.
That would be so funny. That is a joke I would always make if I saw her in her car and her little dog. Like, what's your favorite band?
Have you heard of Van Halen? The dog was also a present from Greg. So that was nice. Greg, one of 3 sons, lived only a block away from his parents. So, like, they moved to his family. Mm-hmm. Greg was a good man who's looking forward to having children. He proudly bragged to his parents about how Pam would be a wonderful mother for their future children if the way she treated their dog was any indication. Because she's, like, obsessed with this dog. It's her life. It's Lola. Mm-hmm. It's Lola.
That doesn't reflect my mothering, though. I'm a different parent to Lola than I am to Brody.
Well, people don't realize that kids are much worse than dogs.
And they talk, so
creates
a whole other level of issues.
So they get married when they're around 23 years old, like young. Mm-hmm. They start to change pretty quick in the marriage, as young marriages do, because you're still literally growing up.
Yep.
You're not who you are when you're 23 years old. So there did start to be some, like, immediate problems. And that problem was that Greg started to grow up more than Pam liked.
Yeah.
She met him when he was, like, this young rocker dude. And he's now, like, he became more conservative. He decided to work with the same company as his father did as an insurance salesman. He was a completely different person than when Pamela met him. And, like, different in the reasons that
she liked she's him no longer attracted to what he is.
Yeah. He still obviously enjoyed heavy metal music and listened to it, but it wasn't his life anymore like it was for Pam. Instead, he was becoming an accomplished salesman, spending recreational time with his friends. Like,
oh, God.
He grew up.
Yeah.
As people do. The shocker for Pam came when Greg cut his shoulder-length hair.
Oh.
Her initial attraction to him was his long hair. They said he looked like John Bon Jovi. Like, he just had the long, feathery, and he cut it all off. She said Pam now thought that Greg looked more like a New England yuppie.
Yikes.
This was only the start of their problems. Around their first anniversary, Greg confesses to Pam that he had an affair.
No! Oh,
He
no.
did. Yeah. So she's the one not liking him, and he's cheating on her. She's like, how dare you?
How dare you? Do you know who I am?
Literally one of those. But then Greg had confided in his parents his plans for a party to celebrate their first anniversary just a week later, and then planned to fly to Florida. He said if there's anything Pam really loves, it's lying on the beach. He called her a real sun bunny.
Sun bunny?
Which I've never heard, but it sounds kind of hot.
I love that.
From then on, however, every time they get into an argument, Pam brings up the affair.
Correct, yeah.
Who wouldn't?
Yep.
I do it all the time with things that don't even matter.
Absolutely. I bring up the fact that Phil ever kissed anyone besides me. That had nothing to do with me. I wasn't even a part of that.
Or, like, one time, if, like, we go out to eat with my mom and, like, I put on my card for some reason. I was like, remember that one time I paid for lunch?
Yeah.
Every time.
Yep.
Don't give me an opportunity like that.
Phil, one time I was really high and he made me 2 grilled cheese sandwiches at midnight on his day off. It's been months. He keeps bringing it up. Anytime I make dinner, like, do you remember that time on my one day off, I made you not 1, but 2 grilled cheeses? Like,
Did you say you're the one who got me hooked on drugs?
So. This is your problem, not mine.
Pam would later say that, like, she just didn't feel as important anymore. Like, it obviously affected her trust.
Yeah.
Which is valid.
Like, damn. I can't imagine being like that hot and that bitch and then getting cheated on.
By a New England yuppie with short ass hair.
Who does he think he is?
He doesn't know. He doesn't know what's going on.
He's about to fucking learn though, ain't he?
Unfortunately, yes. Now, for several reasons, Pamela is just not into this marriage anymore. Gregg isn't fun. She's not. Yeah. He's not the same person she fell in love with.
She's trying to make them old.
Yeah, he cheated on her. And she wants to do more with her career. Like, she wants to continue the lifestyle that she has. Like, she's not going to be an insurance salesperson.
No.
Like, her goals...
She doesn't want to wear a business suit.
...still include her lifestyle as she knows it. Having her sights set on broadcasting, Pam was hired as a media services director with the school board in the town of Hampton, near the coast of Portsmouth. Although not exactly what she wanted, she thought it would be like a good stepping stone for better things, which I feel like is a mistake everyone makes.
Yeah, you got up stuck there.
I'm living it. I'm like, I know I'm vastly overqualified.
Quit quit before I could get there.
It's true.
Now I've got nothing.
But I'm going to get on the up and up, and it's been 3 years, and I'm still the same fucking thing. But whatever. Funny. She's like, I got to get in somewhere.
Right.
And I believe at this point she was also, before she got this job, she was working like 3 jobs. Like, she's working all of these jobs to like get somewhere else. So it probably was just like in general a better step. Like, she's still in communications, but she's working like for a school. It's like a very official.
It's something to put on your resume.
Exactly. Her responsibilities included distributing and producing educational videos for use in the school district, complete with her own secretary and student intern, which just sounds fun. I want an intern. No, I want a secretary. Yeah,
I want to be a secretary.
Do you? I feel like I would be a great assistant. That's like not a good job. I'd be so good at it. Throw some shit at me.
Yeah, it would depend on who it's for.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm very good at administrative tasks, though.
That's why you need to get a work from home job. That is such a big work from home job right now. I know, administrative assistant.
I can't find it. I don't know if I'm just not looking in the right spot.
We gotta look in the right spots.
Okay.
She also volunteered as the adult facilitator with a local drug awareness program called Project Self-Esteem.
Nice.
All freshmen at Winnicott High School were expected to participate in the program. It's like Dare. They make you promise you won't do drugs.
See, but we were not freshmen in high school. I think we were like in 5th grade.
5th grade, they make you...
Swearing off drugs forever. They're like, that's the only age you're going to be able to talk them into that shit.
100%.
So as soon as my ass was in middle school, I was like, wait a second.
I was so terrified at the thought of someone trying to give me free drugs. Like, oh my God.
Someone is going to switch out Smarties for real drugs. That was in my head.
I think we come full circle in like the life cycle when I see people that our age that we know post about people giving away drugs on Halloween, and I'm like, no, they're not.
They are not.
How did you get here? How did you lose all sight of reality?
That serves no purpose.
I'm like, go back in time 10 years. Would you ever be giving drugs away to kids?
No.
No, you want the drugs.
Yeah.
Or you want money for the drugs.
Drugs are expensive.
No one's giving your kid free drugs.
Just what? To hope you see a post on Facebook that someone ended up with your drugs?
What is the benefit of that? There is no benefit. Oh. Unless you're putting a business card in there. Like, tell your parents. this
one's for your parents.
Whatever. So, yeah. They're forcing these kids to do this. She was able to impress them with her interest in heavy metal music. Obviously, the kids all looked up to her because she's not that old.
Yeah. She's like a cool age right now.
Yeah.
Cool adult vibes.
Yeah. She, like, never was, like, an adult, not like she was never patronizing to them, like speaking down on them. She spoke the same language as these kids because they're like less than 10 years apart.
Yeah.
She's one of those cool teachers. I never had one of those teachers. I had the old teachers.
Student teachers that were like that.
Did you?
Yep.
Not me.
And then then they left and that was that. Oh, the one time we had a hot student and gym teacher. Not going to say his name because he like graduated from Clay. Caitlin would remember who I'm talking about though. It was in like 8th grade. I think 8th grade. And oh my God, it was so hot. I wonder what he's doing now.
He's probably dead. Every time you find a man like this.
Oh my God, I know.
I wonder what he's doing.
They're all dead.
He's dead.
I didn't have sex with him though, so he might still be alive.
That's true. That's true. He has one thing going for him. It's that. So, like I said, she's just shooting the shit with these kids about how she gets backstage passes and how all the shit she does. She's like, she's that bitch.
She's like, and I say no to drugs in every single situation.
Yeah.
Just lying to
She's
him.
like, I go backstage to every concert. I've never done a drug.
Never. So you can't do them either.
Yeah, she's the worst person for this job, arguably. Now that you're saying this
because she's
out
selling
loud.
the shit out of it, I bet.
She probably is selling the shit out
If
of
she
it.
told me she didn't do drugs, I'd be like, and she's so fucking cool, I'm not going to do them.
If she walked into my office, though, with, like, her bleached, teased hair and, like, leather jacket and ripped jeans and spiky boots and was like, I want to be in charge of the anti-drug.
You know,
And you hand me a resume with White Snake and the Scorpion. I'm like, no, you certainly do drugs.
Yeah, no. No.
So, Billy Flynn, one of the teenagers working on the project, became smitten with her and going out of his way to be helpful during the sessions. He also visited her every day at her office.
Oh, no, a teenage boy?
Yes, in love.
See, this is...
He, Sawicki in the book, Teach Me to Kill. Look at that. Verbal parenthetical reference. I knew I had one in here.
There you go.
Said, the first time Pamela Smart blipped across Billy Flynn's radar screen was at Winnicott High School during a meeting for Project Self-Esteem discussion leaders. One of the guidance counselors introduced Pamela to the group, and the 15-year-old's hormones kicked into gear. He turned to his friend, Latomy, and said, I'm in love.
Oh, my God. Oh, no.
Yeah. So.
That's why I can't even watch shows when they're playing teenagers, because none of them are actually teenagers.
No.
And I'm like, am I a pervert?
Alexa Demi turned 32 years old.
Insane.
Insane.
What, like, why are you doing this? Why do they do this?
Do you wonder? Like, I was thinking, like, how did you end up as a high schooler on Euphoria?
And
I mean, it's just, she's perfect for it.
I know, but then I'm like, but that's not what is that what high schoolers look like nowadays?
I have no fucking idea.
I hope not.
I was so ugly.
Fucking Jacob Elordi?
Yeah. Come on. He looks more like high school than the rest of them do. Because, well, I guess
Don't
not
say
anymore.
That. See, because
Like
watching the show, I'm like, oh my God, he's so fucking hot. Because I know he's not really a high schooler.
Correct. I feel like that's fine.
Yeah, but now I'm
it's
like,
Hollywood's problem. Make
right.
teenagers sexy.
Yeah. Stop doing that. Stop. Make them awkward again. Because
yeah, I want like
I feel like a pervert, and I'm not a pervert.
That's why Pen 15 on Hulu is the perfect show.
There you go.
That's what fucking kids
I have not been
like.
sexually attracted to any of them.
None of those kids.
Nope.
You want to know why? Because they're kids. That's what 8th graders look like. They cast kids at that age.
Yeah.
So they're the only two that are old.
Grown women, but...
Yeah. God, that show's so fucking good.
It is. When are we getting another season?
I was just thinking, I don't know.
That show is like a hidden gem.
It is. Okay. So, Billy Flynn. William Patrick Flynn was born March 12th, 1974. So, like I said, they're not that far apart. 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
I mean, in teens, that's bad. That's inappropriate. But, like, once you get to adulthood, that's not that far, you come to realize.
Right.
He did not come from a great family. His parents were always fighting, and always fighting in front of him. His father was an overbearing type of man towards his mom and him sometimes. Even after Billy's siblings were born, Billy still got the brunt of his father's stuff. Elaine Flynn said, if things were going my husband's way, he was a great guy to be around, but as soon as he had to deal with any inconvenience, you could forget it. Which we all know someone like that. It's just a very specific type of personality that you can immediately tell.
Right.
When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad.
Yep.
In 1986, his mother left his father after she found out he had been cheating on her. As a result of that, his mother moved them from California to New Hampshire. I'm not sure why. And he was not happy about it at all, as you can imagine, moving from California to New Hampshire.
It's going to be a hard pass for me.
Yeah. She enrolled him in 7th grade at Seabrook Elementary School. It was here that Billy...
What a terrible age to have to go through that, too.
7th grade.
Terrible.
Awful. I could not imagine.
No.
Middle schoolers are mean.
I left middle school for 1 year in 7th grade to go back to the school that I went, like, in elementary. And then I immediately moved back in 8th grade, and it was like...
Everything was different.
Yeah. I was like, oh, fuck.
It was here that Bill would meet his best friends, JR and Pete. They come up later. 2 months before Billy's 13th birthday, his father died.
Oh,
It was a freak accident when a car pulled in front of him and he veered into the rear of a gasoline tanker carrying 9,000 gallons of fuel, blowing up and burning until all that was left to identify him was his teeth.
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy?
That is a nightmare.
Like,
how does that happen?
Fuck if I know.
Wait, a car pulled out in front of him.
So he veered to not hit that car
and instead hit a giant gas tanker.
Yeah. Hit a giant flammable ass car.
Shit. That's traumatizing.
Yeah. Billy was like never the same after that. They say like he just spent a lot of time alone. Very quiet. He was like not about this shit anymore. Crazy.
Oh my God.
Okay. So here's where everything starts to shift. So this is all happening around the time Pamela says Gregg confessed to his affair. Gregg had cut all of his hair off. He'd gotten less fun. She starts this new school. And not only is she 23, I'm pretty sure she looks younger than that.
Mm-hmm.
23
is still so young.
Like, what's the difference between, like, what a 19-year-old looks like and what a 23-year-old looks like? Like I'm sure I look exactly the same. Not you.
See, I always thought that. I thought, even at this age, I could pull for, like, an 18-year-old. And then I realized that's obviously not true the more I don't get ID'd anywhere. So, like, at what point do we turn?
When I don't get ID'd at the grocery store, I'm like, something is wrong. It says
you're going to jail.
It says you ID
up
under
to like
40.
Yeah. I'm like,
so what the fuck do you think's going on here?
Especially if I'm in there with no makeup.
I'm youthful.
I know.
Spry.
You are. You don't have any wrinkles on your face.
It's because I don't smile.
You're fucking right. I'm so expressive. My face never stood a chance.
Never.
But, like, at what point do we start to look older?
I don't
like,
know.
at 23 for her, too, I'm sure she didn't.
No.
I bet you she looked the same as, yeah. I'm trying to think of what I looked like at 23.
I plan on not aging
different.
gracefully.
I had a kid.
Very different for you.
So, everything changed.
Yeah. I plan on getting Botox and shit like that, so I hope to never look. Well, I don't know.
As soon as I get rich, I'm freezing my face.
The only thing that stops me is how bad people look later.
You just dude, science has come a long way.
That's true.
Kris Jenner. The shit that she does to her face, and she looks great.
She does look great. Did
Give
you
me
see
a Kris Jenner and not like a Joan Rivers.
the TikTok? Like Kim Kardashian got a facelift. Like she has like a little facelift scar by her ear.
Nice. You can get mini facelifts. Just like a little mini one. I would
get a facelift if it lifted this chin up.
Yeah, that's like something different though.
You can get stuff injected and it dissolves your chin fat, but it swells, so you have like a gobbler
or whatever. Yeah, you look like a fucking
until
frog.
It goes away.
It's like when people get chemical peels. Like, what do you do for
How
those
do you
like
work?
10 business days?
Your face is just burnt to shit.
I had someone come when I worked at the bank one time. Someone came in. She was like, "I know it looks like I've been in an accident, but I got a chemical peel." I'm like,
"You okay?"
It looks like you would be in pain.
Okay. So, like I said, everything's going wrong for Gregg. He sucks now. Pam's hot. She's out this new job.
Yeah.
Like, their lives are starting to, like, actually separate here. Now, Billy Flynn had dark, shoulder-length hair. He wore an earring, leather jackets. He played the guitar.
Oh, no.
People said he looked like Paul McCartney.
Oh, no.
He was 15, and he was already 5'11".
Oh, no.
It's Jacob Elordi.
Exactly. Oh, shit.
He, too, was dedicated to rock music, just like her, especially heavy metal. It sounded like I said especially. I swear I didn't. It was the lisp. I know it's especially. I don't want people to think that. His favorite band was Motley Crue. That's just one of the things I can't have out in the universe. Say anything else.
All right. Okay. She knows how to say especially, guys.
Thank you. His favorite band was Motley Crue, which I love Motley Crue. He was literally exactly what Pam had found in Gregg 5 years earlier. Not good. So back to the present time of the case, not like
now.
Right now. So Pamela had already had a problem with boundaries. She was becoming increasingly close with her intern that came with her position, the teenager Cecelia Pierce. She was a girl, but still she just like had a very close, inappropriate relationship for someone like you're supposed to be in charge of. They quickly became best friends, which is concerning. Pam was aware that Cecelia, wanting to be a journalist, was very interested in her job. So Cecelia quickly became Pam's sounding board for virtually everything that was going on in her life. She was like literally treating her like a girlfriend and not a teenage student of hers, which Cecilia's 15. So I'm sure she loved this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She probably felt so cool.
She's got this 23-year-old talking to her about her husband and like all this shit. I'm sure she loved it.
That's what, okay, think of us now. If a teenager thought I was cool,
you're fucking right.
I would die.
You're right.
I'd be like, fuck, come over. Let's hang out.
Yeah,
you want
wanna
alcohol?
hang out?
I'll buy it for you. Teenagers are terrifying.
So
if they think
scary.
you're cool,
You're good. You're in. So, Cecelia was also treated like an actual colleague. Like, Pamela would take her to lunch and pay for it. She would let Cecelia drive her car. Like, they were best friends.
oh no. Older sister vibes.
Older sister vibes. Not everyone was crazy about that. Cecilia's mom did not like the amount of time she was spending with Pamela.
It is appropriate because she's technically like her.
Yeah.
Did I say appropriate?
Yeah.
I meant to say inappropriate.
Yeah, I knew you did. Cecilia's grades also started slipping. Cecilia's mom said, you would think that Pam was her mother the way they did so much together. Like, they were always together. Cecilia's mother complained to the school about the amount of time she was spending at her internship, and the school was basically like, we've noticed she's in the media center a lot, but like nothing ever happened. Like, what are you going to do? Tell her to not do her internship?
Okay. This is weird. But like, so because it's like that kind of thing, but I went to like a church where the teenagers were always hanging out with like youth pastor's wife, going to their houses like a lot of time also. So like, why is this different than that?
Jesus.
And there it is.
There's the answers.
I'm like,
No, but yeah, no, it's not appropriate.
Yeah.
And I feel like there are a lot of nightmare stories about shit like that. Just the term
Especially-
youth pastor just really freaks me the fuck out. Something's not right there.
And because like, oh, that age is just so impressionable.
Impressionable is the exact right word.
Yeah. Like, oh man.
I'm still impressionable.
Absolutely.
I'll see someone cool looking carrying the ugliest purse, and I'm like, well,
I need that.
I guess I'll get it.
Yeah.
And I'll
Oh,
look like
yeah.
a fucking moron
I'm about to
carrying
buy
it.
some fucking flare jeans. And I never thought I would. I was like, no, there's no way. But I think they're more flattering on my body than a straight jean.
You
Because
think so?
otherwise, it just looks like vroom, going straight down.
Oh,
Evens
yeah.
it out a little.
Right. I'm gonna get some flare jeans.
You already have some. I've seen you in them.
I do.
You look great.
They're kind of long.
Well,
What
that's
is
a
it,
whole
though?
nother fucking argument.
So Pam, Billy, and Cecelia all frequently hung out together, going to the malls and arcades and stuff, like kid stuff. Like, she's doing stuff they would do with them.
Just not taking them to a bar.
No. Pamela was managing a video shoot they were all doing. She would invite them to her condo to work on the project. While her husband Greg was spending more and more time with his friends, Pam too was exclusive with her friends. So Pamela sets her sights on Billy Flynn. Like, this is a thing now.
Oh no. See, I knew there was going to be a turn. And I wasn't going to be able to like her anymore.
A few months later, in February of 1990, things changed. Sitting in her office with just Billy, Pamela asked, "Do you ever think about me when I'm not around?"
Oh no.
And Billy is apprehensive, I'm sure. He has no idea where this is going. He's like, "You're probably going to get me arrested or something for being a pervert." And he said, "Sure." And she said, "Because I think about you all the time."
Oh no. And he's like he's what, 15?
Yeah.
This awkward teenager. They don't know how to talk to women.
No, they don't. And his hormones are raging.
Probably got a boner just from hearing your voice.
And now you're saying that you think about him all the time. To him.
No.
Billy was floored. He's living every teenage boy's fantasy.
Literally. And it's just.
He fell in love with this woman. He had a crush on her. And she's telling him that she likes him.
Yeah.
Completely out of his league.
A grown ass woman.
With a condo.
Yeah. She's been around with these bands.
Yeah. Pam said that she did not know what to do about her feelings because she was married, but that Billy was constantly on her mind.
Problem isn't that you're married there, sweets.
There's
a whole other problem there.
There's more problems. About 3 weeks later, Pam kissed Billy while on his bed, listening to Motley Crue's Starry Eyes playing over and over.
Why was she on his bed?
Why on earth she was at his house, I have no idea. Why she was at his house.
Yeah. What?
Maybe his mom wasn't home and Greg was home. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck was happening there.
Oh my God.
So after this, she sets her sights on manipulating him fully. Like, this is it. Late in March, Pam took the opportunity to have some fun while Greg was out of state for an insurance meeting. She invited Billy and Cecelia over to the condo to watch movies. One was the steamy 9.5 Weeks, starring Kim Basinger and Mickey Rourke, engaging in sexual acrobatics.
Oh my God.
Shortly after, leaving Cecelia downstairs to walk the dog, Pam enticed Billy upstairs to the bedroom that she shared with Greg.
Oh my
She
God.
slipped into a turquoise lingerie set, bought especially for this occasion. She purchased lingerie for this reason.
For a 15-year-old boy.
Yep. And then they engaged in sex for the first time while the CD blasted out songs by Van Halen.
He probably just lost his virginity.
To statutory rape. While your other friend is downstairs walking the dog.
What the fuck?
She's acting like a teenager.
She certainly knows what's happening.
Yes. After their first sexual encounter, they repeatedly met over the next few weeks to have sex while Pam began and then continued her lament of that you have to get rid of Greg.
Oh my God.
She said, otherwise we can't keep seeing each other. So this is like her new thing. Like she keeps reminding him over and over, like we can't be together if Greg is around. Like that's not something that can happen. When Bill questioned her about getting a divorce, she told him that Greg would follow her everywhere so that she could not even be able to have a boyfriend and that she would probably lose the condo, furniture, and all that. She could not bear the thought of losing her dog. She's like, if I get a divorce, he's going to stalk me. He's going to take all my stuff. And we won't even get to be together anyway. She falsely claimed that he beat her and the only way was to kill him. She's like, he's abusive. God. There's no other way out of this.
Get rid of him.
He has to go. So they have sex again. The next morning, Pam drove them both to school. I don't know what the fuck is happening here.
No. And how is this school, like,
no
who are these kids' friends that they're, like, not going to the school and be like, hey, there's something going on?
I have no fucking idea. So on the way to school after that last time, she said, last night was great, but we can't keep doing it. He asked why not. She said, because of Greg, if you want to keep seeing me, you have to get rid of my husband. This is like her new thing.
Oh my God.
To Billy, it was clear, get rid of Greg or lose Pam forever. And he thinks he loves Pam.
Oh, yeah. They're going to spend the rest of their lives together in his head.
He doesn't love her.
No.
I can tell you that right now. But he does. He's just a kid.
Yep.
And she's statutory raping him.
Yes.
At his beck and call.
Completely manipulating him.
Anyway, so Billy starts to get serious because Pamela is hounding him. Twice now, Billy has tried to muster up the strength to go through with the plan and murder Greg. And he quit both times. He has already tried to murder Greg twice. Billy says the last time she screamed at him that if he truly loved her, he would do this for her. And as I said, he thinks he does love her. So he's like, it's time to get serious. Because it's either do it or they would be done forever. She allegedly gives him a deadline of May 1st. Like, this is when this has to be done by.
He's
or
not
like,
dead, I'm out.
Yeah.
Jesus
completely
Christ.
Normal behavior. This is when he enlisted his friends Pete and JR that I mentioned earlier to help him. So JR is Vince Latimer Jr. He got his nickname JR because he was a junior. So those two people are the same person. Because I think I get kind of confused up in these notes because he's sometimes mentioned as both of these, but it's the same person. He was a junior. He was also 15 years old. He had dark curly hair, thick glasses. He looked very smart. He had a huge book collection. He had an old Camaro he was fixing up. He wanted to be a Marine. He spent his time like visiting his family. Like he would help at church and shit. Like just like a
well-rounded.
Yeah. Patrick Randall is Pete. I don't know
Come
why.
on. Can anyone go by their name?
No, I think. Because there is a third person involved in here. This will all work out. Trust me.
I believe you.
He was short but looked very athletic. His mother described him as a loving son, always hugging both of his parents when he was going out, no matter who was there. Of the three, he flirted the most with the other side of the law, having a history of truancy. There was even a rumor that his goal in life was to be a hitman.
Wow. Dream big.
At least one of Pete's teachers claimed that he and his two friends, Billy and JR, were impressive young men. Billy was a genuinely likable and caring kid, and the other two were intelligent beyond their years. Meanwhile, Pamela and Gregg are still falling apart. She's not even trying to keep up the illusion that they're fine anymore. That's done. They're like essentially
roommates, barely.
They're spending more and more time apart. And Cecelia said that she wants Pamela screaming on the phone about a divorce. So back to Billy, because we're almost done with part 1. They had workshopped plenty of plans, but ultimately went with a plan that came from Pamela herself. Shocker. That plan included the boys wearing dark clothes, Billy tying his long hair back, parking by the shopping plaza, and then she would leave the cellar and the back doors open so that they could enter the house and make it look like a robbery, and then murder Gregg when he got home. Billy told his friends there were 3 other rules to follow. 1, they couldn't turn on any lights because Gregg would know that someone was in there and he wouldn't go inside because she called him a wimp. She's like, if the lights are on, he's going to know something is off because I'm never here and he's not going to go inside. 2, nothing can happen to the dog, and the dog needs to be locked in the basement so it doesn't witness the murder. And 3...
Well, at least she's being thoughtful somewhere.
Yeah, to someone. And 3, they need to use a gun and not a knife. A knife is too messy, and she doesn't want blood everywhere and to get on her white leather couch. Reasonable rules. At some point, Pam asked the teens how she should act when she discovered Gregg's body that night, whether she should scream or call for help. One of the boys told her to just act natural. All right, last part. May 1st, 1990. Started out like any other day for Gregg, but for everyone else, it could not have been more different. Gregg left for work first, and Pam left for work knowing she would have to be gone for most of the day, not coming back until late that evening. She had worn an insane amount of jewelry that day. Jewelry she wanted to ensure was not taken when they fake robbed her house. So she's wearing all this weird shit.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. Pam then got to school and dropped by Billy's locker to let him know that she left the doors unlocked for him and it was all good to go. By about 2:30 p.m., Bill called Pam to let her know that there was a snag in the plan and that they needed a ride to go pick up the getaway car, which was JR's car.
Sorry, we can't go get your husband yet. We need a ride.
Yeah. It should have clicked in her head like, this is weird.
This is weird.
Pam agreed to go over in a little while. No problem, all good. She's like, I'll pick you up, give you a car, whatever. So around 8:30 p.m., the plan starts falling into place. JR and a 4th friend of theirs who doesn't really come up much, Fowler, so that's the other person involved. He literally doesn't really come up. We're waiting at the plaza with the getaway car. Ralph Welch came to live with the Latimies, so JR. The Latimer family had generously taken him in due to his unfortunate circumstances, encouraging him to go back to school. He was about the same age as their son JR, but he was closer to Billy and Pete, but did not have the same circle of friends. Mm-hmm. And Billy and Pete went inside Pamela's house. Their first plan was to get the dog and get him downstairs like Pam asked them to. That was not as easy as they thought, because the dog does not want to be picked up by 2 strangers. Well, they finally pick up the dog and they threw it down the stairs and listened to it thud all the way down the stairs, laughing as they retold the story of this. They then ransacked the home, making it a mess, setting things aside to steal when it was over. They then waited in the dark for Gregg to get home. While they were wondering where Gregg was and wishing that he would hurry up, Pete asked again what the plan would be. Billy said, you're going to get behind the door and I'm going to get on the stairs where he can't see me. Then when he opens the door, you're going to pull him inside and we'll both jump him. Then you're going to cut his throat. Because they do have a knife for some reason, even though she told them not to.
How else were they going to kill him?
A gun. She wanted them to use a gun.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So almost immediately as like they're rehashing this plan, they see Gregg's headlights pull up to the house.
Oh my God.
In their excitement of the moment, they reversed their agreed upon places. Billy ended up behind the door while Pete stood on the stairs. Several minutes later, Gregg turned the key in the lock. The door opened. Gregg flipped on the light while calling out for the dog. Billy leaped out, ambushing Gregg as he came in the door, grabbing the shoulders of his coat. In the next few minutes, Gregg was overpowered by the 2. At some point, Gregg handed over his wallet, and when Pete told Gregg to give them his wedding band on his left hand, Gregg said, no, I can't do that. My wife would kill me.
Oh my God.
Isn't that sad? He still cares. And he knows that Pam is a psychopath. The final words were Billy saying, "God forgive me," as he squeezed the trigger only inches from Greg's head. The shot rang out and Greg toppled over, so they did get a gun. They had a gun and a knife. Billy and Pete ran out of the condo back to the getaway car where JR and Fowler waited, eventually making their way back home. Pam would later tell Billy that while driving home, she had actually seen their car on the road and she had flicked her lights at them in greeting. And that's the end of part 1.
Oh my God. Is her dog fucking dead?
No.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
No. All right.
Wow.
A sensible 51 minutes.
Nice.
And I'm pretty sure the next one is just as, I think I'm like literally halfway done. Look at me being sensible.
Look at you.
So if you are on the Patreon, you should be able to listen to part 2 sometime today. I can't promise I'll get it out exactly on time because that means I have to edit both of them.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Either way, you'll get it before next Wednesday.
It will be up early. If you're not a Patreon, next Wednesday, come back for the riveting conclusion. And there has been like, this reminds me of the Menendez brothers in the exposure that it gets now. It really flips around in a way that like you just don't really expect.
Wow. I can't believe I don't know anything about this. I thought it sounded familiar, but I don't know anything.
So if you're on the Patreon, we'll see you Friday. And if you can't wait, you can also listen to part 2. And if you're not on the Patreon, we'll see you Wednesday. And just to remind you, we are taking the week between Christmas and New Year's off. So there'll be nothing. Unless, if some of you haven't heard the Covina Christmas murder that we did a couple years ago, I am debating throwing it up again.
That's a great
So
case.
if you're interested in that, let me know.
Yeah, let us know if you haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah.
If you're new here.
Because I'll go through the archives and I'll dig it back up and I'll put it back out there. But if no one cares.
Only if people really want it.
If no one cares, I'm not going to go through the...
Let us know.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, bye.
See you next week. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at AlmostPod. If you want an additional episode every week, you can find us at Patreon at AlmostPod.
If you have a case you want us to cover, throw it in a review on Apple Podcasts. You can find merch and all other information at bitchpackmedia.com. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.